Okay, people, I have a voice today. It's a little wonky, but we're gonna give it a go. So every year, instead of asking what I want to achieve, I ask a more gentle question. How do I want to move through the year or carry myself through the year? So for about 7-ish years now, I have been choosing a word of the year, and it's really become one of my favorite things to do. I've even convinced my family to do this, and that feels like a win to me and a little bit of a legacy, so I'm gonna claim it. Choosing a word is super simple and it's flexible, and somehow I feel it always gives me exactly what I need, even if I'm not realizing it at that moment. So in this video, I want to share my word for 2026 and why I feel this approach works so well for me, especially when life doesn't follow that neat, beautiful plan. Okay, why do I choose a word? For me, a word of the year is not a pressure, it's not a rule, it's not something I have to live up to. It's more like a lens. It's like a checkpoint and a way to take a moment and support yourself with just a nudge towards bravery. A word gives me something to come back to, something to return to when I feel overwhelmed or tired or stuck or just unsure about what's going on. Especially as a disabled person and as someone whose life really doesn't move in straight lines often, this works way better for me than rigid planning. What I love most about this practice is that you don't actually always understand your word at the start of the year. It kind of unravels and reveals itself over time. And I feel like it's an intuitive process and you go with what feels right to you in the moment. Some years, my word shows up exactly how I expect it to. Other years, it's deeply annoying and frustrating and confronting. And some years, it's a complete mess and really doesn't help me at all. My 2025 word was conviction, and that lasted for about 97 seconds. So, no, it's not a perfect system, and that's okay, but that's kind of also why I trust it, because it's got a little bit of give in it. You have to give your own pizzazz to it. And then you just have to kind of go with it and see what happens. Bring yourself back to it every so often. Let's talk about how I chose my 2026 word. Choosing a word is not a logical process for me. It's not something that you think your way into, or it's not something that you can sit down and brainstorm and immediately have it. It's something you kind of feel your way towards. Sometimes the word arrives in one moment and you hear it and you feel it and you're like, yes. And then you know. And when that happens, it's kind of epic. But most of the time, it takes a hot minute. It shows up in half thoughts or in journal entries or in conversations with people or in the things that keep putting your focus. With all of that happening, I let it percolate a little bit. we're not forcing the word in one brainstorming session, and we're not panicking if nothing lands right away. We're paying attention, and eventually one word kind of starts to sit nicely, and it feels heavier than the others, and that's a good thing. When you land on the right word, you stop looking for more words. You don't need to debate it, you don't need to justify it, you just claim it, and that's your word for the year. So, we had that whole process. My word for 2026 is inhale. Which is funny to me because right now I'm like coughing my lungs out, but it's okay because the word is gonna be here after I stop coughing as well. I appreciate the irony of it. I actually landed here with my word for 2026 being inhale through music. Here's what happened. This word had been circling for a little bit. We were deep in percolation. And then I heard Catch My Breath by Kelly Clarkson. And it hit me in that moment that that song feels very much like an anthem for like choosing yourself and being empowered in that decision of choosing yourself and like being unapologetic about that and not being quiet, just choosing yourself and taking a deep breath and doing the thing. So that kind of spoke to me. And then later, I was listening to Infinite Baths by Sleep Token. I love them so much. Anyway, there's a line in that song where Vessel sings, "Something is lifting the bones, something is dancing in revelry." Actually, that whole thing, we need to find it. Okay, guys, I found the lyrics. It says, "Something is lifting the bones, something is dancing in revelry, wider than oceans below, taller than titans on box springs." Okay, seriously, first of all, I'm probably gonna get that tattooed on my body at some point. The point is, I heard those words and that was it. It just arrived as like a fully formed thought and idea. Inhale. So for me, this word represents two really important things. First is pausing, stopping the panic, interrupting the downward spirals, holding space for myself, and then coming back into my body and grounding myself when things feel like they're too much. We just need to take a second and inhale. And then second is expanding. When we breathe, our lungs expand, right? And when we inhale, it's not just about calming down. It's about making space, right? So it's about letting myself take in more of what actually feeds me and what nourishes me with more ease and joy and accepting more support so I can grow and be bigger and be better. It's really about allowing good things to happen and letting the moments be bigger, letting the experiences stretch out and sit in and with them instead of just like rushing past them and moving on to the next thing. Expanding for me also means trusting that there is room. There's room for rest and ambition. There's room for being soft and also strong. There's room for growing without pushing or forcing anything. And inhale as my word for 2026 feels like I'm choosing openness over bracing, being fully prepared for shit to hit the fan all the time. It's not always the best approach. So inhale is also about receiving instead of just surviving and prepping for the worst. And that's the energy that I want to carry with me into 2026. So that's my word for the year. Inhale. I don't need it to be perfect. I just need it to be something that I can come back to and just ground myself with. And that feels good to me. If goals and setting goals and resolutions and things feels too heavy for you, maybe choosing just one word feels lighter and will work better. And you can let it percolate and take its time. It will come. It will come to you. If you want to see how I'm planning to move through this year without rigid goals, you can watch my Quests Not Goals videos. I'll put them somewhere here. And they'll give you the bigger picture behind this whole line of thinking. And if you have a word for 2026, or you have one that's circling and you haven't quite decided yet, drop them in the comments. I would really love to hear it. Thank you so much for chilling here with me on this little corner of the internet. I am excited to see you in the next one. And I guess I'm gonna end with happy 2026. Let's do the thing.